Have you ever really stopped to think about how powerful your thoughts are? And I don't mean in some abstract philosophical way. I mean in a way you can actually measure inside your own body. Today we are going to look at some incredible science that shows how the stories we tell ourselves can literally change our physical reality. Hi, I'm Max, and I'm your host for today's video. Welcome to Think Well, Live Well. If you've just found us, this is where we share simple, practical mindset tools to help you handle life with more clarity and confidence. And once you've watched this one, don't miss some of our other videos. There's plenty more to explore. This one is a wild topic. So let's just dive right in. I know it sounds a little like science fiction, right? But this is the exact question a group of researchers set out to answer. They designed this super clever experiment to test if our mindset, what we believe is true, could actually change our hormones and the way our bodies use food. And you'll be surprised at how simple their setup was. So here's what they did. They invited people into their lab on 2 separate days. On one day, they were given something called a senti shake. Billed as a sensible 140-calorie, totally guilt-free option. Then on another day, those same people came back and got an indulgent shake, a rich, decadent 620-calorie treat. Now the key here is that everything from the fancy labels to the descriptions was all designed to make them believe these were 2 completely different drinks. And here comes the big twist, the catch. The 2 milkshakes, they were actually the exact same shake. Yep. Both times, what the participants were drinking was an identical 340-calorie formula. The only thing that was different was the label on the outside of the bottle, and most importantly, what they believed they were putting into their bodies. So, did this little mental trick have any real physical impact? Okay, this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. The researchers measured a hormone called ghrelin. It's often called the hunger hormone. When your ghrelin levels are high, your brain gets the signal, hey, I'm hungry. When it drops, you feel full and your metabolism gets the message to start burning calories. And just look at this chart. When people thought they were drinking the sensible shake, their ghrelin levels barely moved. But when they thought they were drinking the indulgent one, remember the exact same shake, their ghrelin levels dropped 3 times lower. Their bodies physically reacted as if they've just had a massive meal. All because of what they believed. Incredible. So the big takeaway here is this. Our mind isn't just watching from the sidelines. It is an active player. The belief, the mindset itself, sent a powerful signal that completely changed how the body processed the exact same calories. This just perfectly sets up our theme for today. Your mindset is a seriously powerful force that directly shapes your biological world. But how does this work on a bigger scale in our lives? Well, to really understand the why behind all of this, we have to turn to the amazing work of Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck. She spent her entire career trying to figure out why some people just crumble when they fail, while others seem to use failure as a launchpad for growth. And what she discovered were 2 fundamental mindsets that pretty much shape our entire experience of life. So on one side, you've got the fixed mindset. This is the belief that our talents, our intelligence, our personality, they're just fixed traits. They're set in stone. If you're in a fixed mindset, every single situation becomes a test. Am I going to look smart or am I going to look dumb? Will I succeed or fail? And so challenges, they feel like threats, things you should probably avoid. But on the other side, you have the growth mindset. This is the belief that our abilities are things we can develop through effort and learning. With this view, challenges aren't threats at all. They're opportunities to stretch ourselves and get better. Carol Dweck really just nailed it with this question. It gets right to the heart of everything, doesn't it? That fixed mindset is just exhausting. It's just constant performance, always needing to prove yourself. But the growth mindset, well, that's freedom. It shifts the entire goal of your life from proving to improving. You can almost think of it like standing at a fork in the road. The fixed mindset sends you down a path where you're just constantly trying to prove you're good enough. The growth mindset, on the other hand, puts you on this open road of continuous improvement and learning. And which road you end up on is all decided by that one core belief about your own ability to change. But is this just psychology, or is there something actually physical going on in our brains? Let's dig into the hard science a bit, because this isn't just about positive thinking. The ideas behind a growth mindset are directly backed up by what we now know about the physical structure of the human brain. It turns out our brains are literally built for change. And the scientific name for this incredible ability is neuroplasticity. You know, for a very long time, scientists thought that once you became an adult, your brain was pretty much fixed. We now know that is completely, totally wrong. Our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our experiences, our choices, and yes, even our thoughts. The brain you were born with is just the starting point. But you know, this brings up a really important question. Okay, so knowing the brain can change is one thing. That's great. But how do we actually kickstart that change? Especially when we're struggling with something, right? When we feel frustrated or stressed out, our natural instinct is usually to quit. But neuroscientist Andrew Huberman explains that that very feeling of difficulty, that's actually the key to unlocking neuroplasticity. He actually breaks it down into this 4-step chemical process. So, step 1 is agitation. When you're wrestling with a tough problem, your brain releases adrenaline. That's that feeling of stress or frustration. Step 2. You engage your focus, which is driven by another chemical, acetylcholine. Your attention narrows right in on the problem. Step 3 is effort. That's you pushing through that initial agitation. And then step 4, the reward. The moment you make even a tiny bit of progress, your brain releases dopamine, that feel-good chemical. And that dopamine hit doesn't just feel good. It actually strengthens the very brain circuit you just used, making it easier to do it again next time. So, here's the crucial reframe. That feeling of stress you get when you're learning something new, that's not a bug in the system. It's a feature. It's your brain firing up the engines for change. It's the starting gun for neuroplasticity. Leaning into that discomfort is how you tell your brain, hey, pay attention. Something important is happening here. It's time to rewire. Okay, so we get the what and the why. We know our mindset can change our body, and we know our brain is designed to be rewired. So now for the most important part, how can we actually use this stuff in our own lives? Let's build ourselves a little toolkit. Here are a few simple science-backed strategies. First up, the incredible power of the word yet. Just adding that one word, changing I can't do this to I can't do this yet, it transforms a dead end into an open road. Second, praise the process. Dweck's research showed that praising people for their effort and their strategies, not just their natural talent, builds resilience. So focus on the work, not just the win. And third, set SMART goals. You've probably heard of these. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This basically gives your brain a clear map to follow. And this all ties back to that dopamine system we were just talking about. The beautiful thing is that this reward system is completely internal. We don't need someone else to give us a gold star. We can actually learn to give ourselves that dopamine hit, not just for crossing the finish line, but for the hard work of the training itself. When we start rewarding ourselves for just showing up, for pushing through that initial frustration, we start to actually enjoy the process. The effort itself becomes the reward. So, I'd like to leave you with a question to think about. Now just take a second and think of one area in your life. Maybe it's at work, in a hobby, a relationship, where you might be stuck in a fixed mindset. How could you reframe that challenge? Maybe by using the power of yet. How could you focus a little more on the process instead of just the outcome? The science here is just so hopeful. It tells us we really do have the power to change the game just by changing our minds. Thanks for spending this time with me today. I've been Max, and you've been wonderful. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, take a look at some of the other videos here on Think Well, Live Well. We cover everything from building confidence to managing stress and finding more balance in everyday life. Our mission is simple: to help us all think more clearly, live more fully, and grow together. Because small shifts in how we think can make a big difference in how we live. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.